Welcome to This Week in Video Game Mashup number 2. I'm your host, Keegs Theefury, and with me as always is my co-host.
Matt Jones, aka Mavrickx888.
And this week was a very big week for game releases, but really short on news, so we're just gonna get right into it with Diablo 3 released. Lots of hiccups right off the bat. It was supposed to launch midnight transition between Monday and Tuesday this week, but immediately came into hundreds of problems. People could not get connected, people were getting dropped, servers were going up and down.
Yeah, so I think it was it couldn't have been within more than a couple, like you said, a couple hours release. The major bug was a lot of the authentication servers went down, and therefore no one could connect. And you might say, okay, well that's growing pains, that's normal issues for a brand new release. That is true. However, people couldn't even play the single player version because the authentication servers are down. And I know this is a huge problem in games like this where you need to be always connected to the internet to play. You can't even play single player without being connected to the servers, and if the server's down, you can't play single player, so what's the point?
Exactly. The authentication servers went down, but that's still once those went back up, there were still other problems. You can connect, you could create a character, but you could not host a game. The unfortunate part about this is if they had just wiped it clean for everyone and said, okay, we need to just disconnect everyone from our servers, work on them for a few hours, then put them back up, it wouldn't have been a big deal. I came home from work that day, ready to play. I was excited. And I could see my friends leveling. They were level like 20 something. I could log in, but unfortunately, I could not start a game. So they did not kick them. They continued to progress further than us, and I was not able to play. And it's like they're playing, but I'm not. Ugh! It's just so frustrating.
Yeah, I bet. And I didn't buy the game obviously, but this is something that let me back up a second and say I'm used to Blizzard's lack of getting their stuff together when it comes to big game releases, big patch releases. So I understand that there is going to be obviously some kind of growing pain associated with this. But that being said, if I buy a game I'm going to pay $60 for, I want to be able to play it. I don't care what you have to do to get it done, especially if it's a big name title like, oh, I don't know, Diablo 3. It might be kind of handy to actually have your stuff in line, getting right out the gate.
Right, these guys had an alpha. Blizzard had an alpha for this game. They also had a open beta, which meant they had stress tests. Maybe not as big as the release is going to be, but Blizzard's been in this game for years now. They had a lot of time to learn from things. Let's go back in past, and people who have been Blizzard fans for quite some time will realize that the AQ event in WoW was like the start of their big-ass problems, where essentially something bad happened, and there were so many people on the same server that servers were going down. They learned about that. Then they learned about the expansion releases. They slowly but surely were getting better. So I don't understand why they wouldn't have been better prepared for the launch of what would, essentially be the biggest game release in their history so far.
Yeah, I mean, I would say if anything, we have always been, and we will always have this in our past as WoW players. And if we're World of Warcraft players, we are on the front lines of how Blizzard can really mess it up horribly in terms of big patches, big releases. Okay, you gave the AQ example. I'm gonna give the Burning Crusade expansion example. When Burning Crusade landed, you didn't log in for the first, I'm going to say more than the first day. I'm going to say the first couple days, because one of two things happened. You either, couldn't connect, period, or the server would crash on you repeatedly, over and over and over and over and over. You couldn't do anything, you couldn't quest. Even if you could quest, forget it, because quests are bugged. I mean, it just was not good, and you would think Blizzard would learn, okay, well, what are we doing wrong here? Are we not testing enough? Do we not have all of our faculties in place? Like, what are we doing wrong? And I just feel like they really haven't addressed that. I mean, I guess I can say that because look at the result, but I mean, I just feel that there's something else they gotta be able to do, because this doesn't happen with every game. So what is Blizzard doing that other people are not doing that other people are doing?
Right, and this is hitting the mainstream. We've posted a couple tweets and a few famous people have gotten in. Conan O'Brien put the 5 stages of Diablo 3, Error 37, eye roll, facepalm, Hulk rage, bagel pizzas, message board. And it's well put because essentially I had a few guildies that were talking to me about it, reading the forums as the game was going up and down, and one of the strong fans was threatening to come to the California branch of Blizzard and come in there with a gun and start shooting people. He was posting this on the Blizzard forums. It's been one of those things where these people are so serious about this game. They've been waiting forever for this game, and they feel so down. And that shows in the Metacritic. If you look at the Metacritic, the actual critics are giving it about an overall 88. Whereas the users are giving it a 4. And there's a lot of negative. I'm looking over right now, over 2,000 negative, 100 mixed, 1,000 positive. So it is overall negative at the moment.
Yeah, and that brings me to a question that I want to, or a debate I want to go over with you, and that's, is everyone saying, oh, it's just how it was released. Oh no, like the game will get better. Is the first impression important enough to go out and write a review immediately in terms of, okay, I'm going to give it, without even playing fully through the game, because I can't log in, or whatever the case may be. Is it still justified to go out and write a review or post on, say, Metacritic and give it a low review because you couldn't do anything?
Well, personally, and that brings us to our kind of review system, we started reviewing games, and we're reviewing the first 30. I think if you're upfront about how long you played and let people know, hey, I only played the first act, or I only played the first half of this game, so it could well change in the later half. Our review is online right now, and you can check it out on our YouTube and Facebook. It's the first 30 minutes review of Diablo 3. So it's not the full game, it's just a first impression from someone who has never really played the Diablo franchise. And the overall score given was a 4 out of 5. Coming from a casual who's never played these games, I was really taken aback by this game and the review. It's a really good game. It does have its faults. Like the disconnect issues were huge, the lag issues were huge, but once that kind of got fixed, the game is extremely fun and you want to keep coming back. And if you want to hear more details, then please go to our YouTube page and check out the video.
Yeah, there'll definitely be a link in an annotation there. I watched the review, I heard you talk about it, and it's good that coming from a virgin perspective of the Diablo series, I think your point of view is almost unique. I don't know many people who haven't played Diablo, so it's a good fresh perspective. Now, I don't know how, if I was to play it, how I would feel about it, because I know a couple Diablo 2 fanboys, as it were, who play Diablo 2 with me and who know the game very well, say it's a little lackluster in terms of change. Now, that being said, it's the genre. I mean, how can you mix up a formula that's what the genre is? You can't really change the formula too much without breaking the genre and going into a completely different genre. So that I don't know how much you can change that, but from what I've been hearing in terms of the hardcore Diablo 2 fans, there's not much enough to make it worth going out and buying the full $60 of Diablo 3.
Well, this brings us to our next story of the day. A lot of people know him as the biggest on the internet, but some people know him as the biggest and best video game paladin on the web. Athene, over at Athene Wins, his YouTube page, has brought some of the best video game players in the world to his hub, and they were fighting for world firsts in Diablo. The max level cap is level 60, so he was fighting through the night and with very little sleep to get that achievement. His team did achieve world first 60. He also did fight towards becoming the world first infernal kill, and apparently there was GMs watching over his game at any given time. There was 2 to 3 GMs watching over his game and any competing games to see if anyone was exploiting. Athene's strategy was 4 monks using an ability that made them all invincible for 8 seconds. So instead of working with a tank dynamic and having some ranged, he had 4 melee classes going at max DPS and basically with very low health, were able to down this boss. Unfortunately, right before they were able to down it on the live servers, it got hotfixed. So their ability went from 8 seconds of invulnerability down to 2 seconds.
Now, I have a couple quirks with this. First of all, I understand Blizzard's position. I think they probably weren't too worried about something like this happening initially, in terms of the balancing of classes, because there's no PvP. 8 seconds of invincibility in which I'm assuming there's going to be group PvP. I'm assuming it's not going to just be one-on-one, because that would just be silly. So theoretically, this situation could happen in a PvP setting. Obviously, like I said, PvP's not out yet, so we don't have to worry about that right now. But this is something that Blizzard would need to fix anyway, because that's just silly. 32 seconds of invincibility for, if you played it right? That's kind of ridiculous.
No. That's 8 seconds overall between all four, not independently 8 seconds each.
Gotcha. Okay, well that makes a lot more sense. Now, that being said, still, I think that's something they would have to fix, and I'm assuming they put some kind of cooldown or a debuff similar to Forbearance in World of Warcraft, for those of you who are privy to that knowledge. But still something that I think Blizzard had the right to do, and if Athene was complaining about this or whatever, hey, you know what? It is kind of shady that they did it mid, they did a hotfix on it, like mid-attempt. That is kind of shady, but you purposely went out and tried to find some kind of, I don't want to say it's a glitch, but some sort of, loophole to go and defeat this, other than doing it in the spirit, quote-unquote, of the game, and, going out and find a tank, going out and find a healer, going out and find DPS, and taking on the boss legitimately. You tried to find a loophole, so, I mean, that's on you.
Personally, I don't think he quite tried to find a loophole. Now, Athene gets a lot of hate for being a troll, for being this. Athene is extremely intelligent. He knows exactly what he's doing at any given time. If you hate him and you go to watch his videos, that's exactly what he wants you to do. He makes money on your hate. So, as far as this strategy goes, he and many others took a lot of time to theory craft this out and said, what is going to be the easiest and quickest way to get this world first? Because we are competing against the best guilds, the best groups, the best people in the world. So they had to theory craft this and quick. And they decided to go with a 4-monk strategy, which is not a horrible strategy. The fact that they had this invincibility for 8 seconds and they can use that about 2 or 3 times a minute, that is Blizzard putting something in the game and not realizing how it could potentially be used. I'm very happy with how he kind of made this strategy. It's disappointing that he basically gets knocked out of the race for world first for this, because of a hotfix. They were, if you watch the attempts, they were not live streaming the attempts, but there's some footage of them doing it on normal mode this way, and it just was so easy. So when they go back and try and do it on the hardest difficulty, and they're just getting messed up now because the cooldowns aren't working the same way, it's frustrating, you gotta say. But he was not complaining about it at all. He was very disappointed that they decided to hotfix this, but he was extremely happy with his world first 60. No one could take that away from him. He worked very hard for it. He paid quite a bit of money to get some of the best players in the world to do it for him. So as far as I see, he's happy, the world's happy. Let's see who gets world first. I think it's still up for grabs, and it's a really difficult world first right now.
I do want to talk about this briefly, in terms of the world first concept. It always kind of didn't really sit well with me. I don't care. Let me put this. I don't care. I don't care about world first in terms of individual achievements, like, oh, I got the first highest level of this game. I don't care, because you will have people like this who will go out and will no life it, b spend X amount of money getting this done, which kind of cheapens the effect. It's like, yeah, you got world first, but give me unlimited time, give me unlimited resources, and I'll go do the same thing. That's not it's nothing like special. I don't in my mind. Now that being said, you go out and say like World of Warcraft, you get 20, you get 40, you get 25, you get 10. How many other people together and you do a world first? That's impressive because you went out and you got all your best people together and you tried and tried and tried. You spent the time, you spent the effort, and that's a feat because you had so many other personalities, so many other people in the mix that you had to control, that you had to keep on your side the whole time and doing the same thing. That's impressive. One person alone doing one thing, not very impressive.
Well, let's keep in mind that it is 4 people doing their thing because it is a 4-player co-op game, and there is strategy involved. It may not be as in depth as a world first 25-man in a MMO or a 40-man, but still, I don't think we should take that away from them. The effort, if they want to do it, if they want to fight for world first, go for it. It's entertaining. It's fun to watch their channels on YouTube. It's fun to see their fails as well as their success. So I'm all for it. I don't think I'll be ever trying for world first because I'd like to do other things with my time. But for those who do fight for and get it, congratulations, and congratulations on Athene's first 60, and congratulations to whoever becomes the first to do Inferno.
Yeah, if you can spend that much time and effort, I guess you're doing something right in life, and you're still making money. So, hey, go for it. But I do want to say that despite all of the hubbub and everything, I do want to see Diablo 3 succeed. I may come off as saying thinking that, or you may think that I don't want to see it succeed. I am a huge Diablo fan. Like I said, I played Diablo 2 since it came out, 12 years ago now. So I really do want to see Diablo 3 succeed, and I want to see myself playing it, and I want to see myself enjoying it.
All right, moving on. Thank you very much for all the Diablo 3 fans and Diablo 3 news. But moving on to additions being released, new games coming out. Borderlands 2 Special Edition has been announced. There's going to be 2 special editions and then the regular game. One that runs $99.99 and one that runs $149.99. Now, the $150 version comes with a replica loot chest. Has quite a few other goodies. But this brings a new question. All these new versions of games, is it worth it, or is it just an additional way for companies to take money from its players?
Well, I'm seeing, and I don't know if this has been the prevalent case. I've never really been into special editions at all. I'm seeing a lot of special editions like you just mentioned, Borderlands 2, coming with something tangible with it to mess around with, like in this case, a replica loot chest, which, by the way, if you check out the screenshots, actually looks pretty cool. Kind of something that I would possibly consider laying down some extra money for, 150, maybe not. And then we mentioned last week Resident Evil 6, the $1,300 special edition, which comes with like Leon's jacket or something like that. So I don't know if that's always been the case, but it seems like the extras you get from the special editions are getting more and more extravagant, getting more and more intricate, getting more and more detailed. I mean, I'm like I said, I may not be willing to go out and spend the $1,300, may not willing to go out and spend the $150, but if they keep adding cool little add- ons like this, real tangible things that I can set in my room and say, yeah, I bought the special edition of this game, here's my proof, here's my trophy, here's my whatever, I might be more willing to spend a little bit extra money for it.
Personally, unless I absolutely love the game, I'm not willing to go and spend that money. Now let's see what the $100 version gives you. It gets you Borderlands 2, a authentic Marcus Kincaid bobblehead, which that would be nice to see. Collectible sticker set, inside the vault art and design of Borderlands hardbound book, so it's a real book, a map of Pandora, a digital comic, you get a code, and downloadable in-game digital content bonus for free. The $150 version gives you a steel bookcase, a collectible scaled replica of a red loot chest found throughout Pandora, creatures of Pandora wide format ID, a lithograph postcard set, field notes, cloth map, a numbered certificate, and from what it looks of it is inside the loot chest might actually be some replica guns.
See now, I'm a big fan of Borderlands, but maybe not enough to spend on the $150. But I like the concept of getting the gamers pieces of the in-game stuff. That makes them feel connected to the game a little bit more, and especially when it's something so prevalent like in Borderlands 2, for instance, the loot chests. That they're everywhere. I mean, it's half the game is looking in loot chests. So, I mean, that's like you said. Maybe not enough to go out and spend the 150 on, but if they keep doing stuff like this, I only think it's going to entice more and more gamers to go for the special edition. I mean, before, like, there's really no point to get the special editions with a lot of games. It's just saying, I have a special edition. But now they're actually adding in real tangible items, which, will only help the value. I don't think it's going to take away from it.
Personally, I'm looking at that 151. I'm a huge fan of Borderlands. I've put probably about 80 hours into the original. I love it to death. And I may be picking up that $150 game. There goes all my money coming up. Moving on, Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City was released. This is kind of like a re-release, going back to the roots of Resident Evil. Not a lot of scores coming out, not a lot of people reviewing it, and to be honest, it went under the radar.
Yeah, well, we were talking about it earlier, and I was like, what came out? Who? When? I mean, I knew of Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City, obviously, but I didn't know it had came out, but evidently it's only come out so far, I think, for PC, and that was yesterday on the 18th. So I'm reading the Metascores. Actually, I haven't even seen a PC review, funny enough, being it the first to come out, but there is Metacritic scores out for both the PS3 and Xbox 360, and they're getting below average reviews both on the critic side and the user side. The critics slightly higher than the user side, but I don't know. But I think this is going to be Resident Evil's last throwback. I think they're gonna switch, because we talked about with Resident Evil 6, they're switching the control scheme. They're switching the pace of the game. So I think this is going to be probably the last true blue Resident Evil game that we actually see before they kind of make that transition into a more quote unquote next gen Resident Evil.
Yeah, and I think it's for the better, because when Resident Evil 4 came out, it introduced me to the series. I was well aware of that. I was just not into the scary kind of pop out at the last second. Oh my god, what's going on? I never was a fan of that. But when you made it an action setting, and there was a lot of the control scheme was fixed so that it was playable, that made the game fun. And 5 worked hard to push that forward, and 6 looks like it's going to be an amazing game. So I'm very happy with the direction the series is going in. I'm kind of glad that these games, the dinosaur age, is kind of going away.
Yeah, I've never been a huge fan of I can't move and shoot at the same time. That's never really appealed to me. Being a FPS gamer for the majority of my life, moving and shooting is sort of important to do at the same time. But not that being said, I still love the Resident Evil series. I still think it does what it does great, and I will be very interested to see, and I will be very excited to see them make this new transition to this new style and pace of the game. So hats off to Resident Evil for taking a leap forward, and I hope it works out for them.
Alright, for the last story, we're going to go over to Maverick. What's going on over at Steam?
So exciting new feature. Steam just took out a beta the other day on May 17th. Now you can remote, we had the app, so we can log into Steam, we can look at Steam from, mobile platforms. Now, not only can you do that, you can also purchase and you can also install remotely to your computer via Steam. So if you see a game deal that came out and you're at work or something, like, oh, I can't even get there, I want to play when I get home, you can not only buy it, you can now install it, as long as your PC is on, obviously, to your computer remotely, which is actually a pretty cool feature. It's something that's not going to hurt Steam. I definitely would make me more of an impulse buyer in terms of I can download this right now and I can have it installed to play when I get home. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're starting with iOS, moving into Android, and they'll also be coming up to Windows Phone 7 here in the future. This is the future, in my opinion. The fact that you'll be able to be at work, at lunch or something, look at your phone, see the weekend deals on a Friday and go, ooh, I'd like this one, this one, this one, have it installed, be playing it that weekend. By the time you're home, it's already on your computer ready to go. I can't see anything that could go wrong with this other than the fact that it's going to make me poor really quick.
Yeah, that's the drawback, is you're gonna be poor, definitely. I do want to mention, now that we talk about the future of gaming in terms of how we're moving everything to a mobile platform, how everything's becoming more and more handheld as we go on, I do want to mention really quick NVIDIA announced, I think this was earlier this week, that their next generation, not this generation, but next generation of graphics will have the capability to stream the power behind the graphics itself to a device. So let's say, like on your tablet, you can actually stream games from your GPU, from your graphics unit, to your mobile device, let's say a tablet in this case. So you could literally be playing Diablo 3 on your tablet because it's being streamed to you via your computer. Now, this is obviously going to be a very prototype type of deal where we're not going to see the actual finished release product for many years. But that being said, that is definitely an awesome thing to look forward to. Hey, you can play any PC game on your smartphone.
Yeah, this is very, very interesting. Now, Microsoft already kind of experimented with something similar to this, where you'd be able to have certain games for Xbox Live on your Windows mobile phone and be able to just hit a button that said, I'm done for now, throw it to my Xbox. So when you got home, you just boot your Xbox up, you could resume where you left off in the game. So they've been touching on it, but it's not been that widespread. Now, with this kind of thing, this does mean that on your phone, your tablets, your smaller computers, maybe your laptops that aren't as powerful, you'll be able to play mobile, your Skyrims, your big games that, you don't necessarily want to be stuck behind a big computer. And I don't know who these people are. Personally, I'm fine being stuck behind a big computer. It is part of my life. But for the more casual people, the people who, the computer is not everything for them, this is huge.
Yeah, and they actually demoed it on a game. It's called Hawken. I've never heard of it, but it looked like a mech warrior type of game where you're in you're a giant robot and you're fighting. But and they were doing it on a TV. There was nothing connected to the TV, just the cable. So basically, you TV, whatever it is, all the processing power is happening off site. So you don't, like everyone. My first inclination when I saw this article was that, where's the processing power coming from? Obviously, a tablet can't handle, something with high graphics capabilities. Where is it coming from? But that's all being taken care of off-site. So, theoretically, services like NVIDIA could go out and say, I'm going to rent you a graphics card for, $10 a month. You can stream whatever you want from that graphics card to your computer. If they figure out the latency issues and the bandwidth issues, this could be an amazing technology.
And they're really close on that. If we look at the services, do you remember what it's called? It's a cloud-based gaming system.
Yes. Is it Gaikai? I think is one of them. There's another one too, but I do know of Gaikai, and yeah, they basically stream games too. Yeah. So I mean, if they can pair these technologies together, work out obviously bandwidth is going to be an issue because you're streaming in a large amount of data over the network. But if it's if we're talking about local, this isn't going to be an issue because locals we always have wireless and wireless probably wouldn't be the best example, but we're getting into the gigabit. We're getting at where gigabit is normal talk instead of this fancy thing that no one can afford. We're now all getting into that. So if we can continue this trend of getting more bandwidth, something like this is definitely going to be more viable.
The system I was referring to is OnLive. OnLive has expanded tremendously in the last year or two, and essentially it's using that technology we're talking about to stream you games off of other people's computers. So, we may be in a place where we no longer pay for hardware, that we rent hardware via the internet. And that could be good, that could be bad. Personally, I'm going to continue owning my hardware so I never have to pay these fees, because seriously, it can happen that the power goes out. It can happen that the internet goes out. Do you want to be without your machine? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think I'll always be a desktopper forever. I don't think that's ever going to change with me. Looking into the future, I think everything will eventually be in the cloud, and this will become a reality where we're renting our processing power, we're renting our hardware somewhere in the cloud, and it's all being streamed to us, to our TV, to our tablet, to our smartphone, whatever. And I'm not saying it's a bad trend. I mean, it's just gonna kind of kill an industry kind of deal. But I mean, the end user will definitely have a better overall experience with their games than maybe today.
All right, moving on. Maverick, what are we looking at for weekend game deals?
Steam deals are looking pretty good this week actually. Last week was a little lackluster. The entire Tom Clancy collection appears to be at least 33% off, so you can actually go on and purchase pretty much every Tom Clancy game that I know of for at least 33% off. The most notable, obviously, Splinter Cell bundle, 33% off, bring it down to 30 for all 4 games. That's actually pretty cool. I actually really enjoyed the Splinter Cell series. Next off is the Ghost Recon bundle, also 33% off, bring it down to $20 for 5 games. If you're looking for a bang for your buck, I guess you can go there. Ghost Recon, not the best first-person shooter genre, but it has some interesting concepts. It's more futuristic, but while still remaining current to today's time, so it's actually a pretty good mix-up, a good hybrid. 33% off also for the Far Cry Complete Pack, giving you both games plus the DLC for the second game for only $13.38. Haha. One above $13.37. Amazon has 80% off the BioShock Dual Pack 1 and 2, bring it down to only $7.49, $7.50 for both those games. Definitely an awesome steal. Check that out. Green Man Gaming, a service I've never heard of, has 80% off Deus Ex Human Revolution, bring it down to $6. Man, didn't it just come out? Jeez.
And that is the weekend game deals for the week. We're checking up on you guys, letting you know what the deals are coming up. And what are we now playing? I'm personally playing Diablo 3. I'm going to continue playing it beyond the review, and I'm most likely going to beat it and maybe even play it again. Matt, what are you playing?
I got Mass Effect 3 from Gamefly, so I'm trying to get that out of the way. So far, I mean, I'm not super impressed. It feels like Mass Effect 2.5. I haven't seen anything too groundbreaking, but I'm only a couple hours in the game, so we'll see what comes.
I have Mass Effect 1 and 2, and I have yet to play it. It's one of those games in my back catalog, and I eventually will get there. But that brings us to the end of the show, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We are going to be live streaming this every week. We're also going to be every Saturday we'll have this show live on YouTube and on our Facebook, so tune in next week. But I was your main host here, Keegs, also known as Theefury. Thank you for tuning in. With me as always,
Matt Jones, aka Mavrickx888. Thanks guys for watching, and if you can, share this with a friend.
Yes, and check out our Diablo 3 review